Brothers and sisters, we're here for one reason and one reason alone.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Here's an hour you will never get back. It's the Too Dumb to Quit podcast with Jeremy McComb.
Oh, this is bad.
Here we go. The Too Dumb to Quit podcast starts now.
Happy Tuesday. Good morning, friends. Welcome back to the Too Dumb to Quit podcast. Tuesday morning, day after Veterans Day. Hope you guys had a great day full of saluting the men and women who have sacrificed everything for this incredible country we live in. You know, we kind of try to live every day as Veterans Day, especially in our house. You know, I come from a very long line of military men and women, and you know, trying to teach your kids when they see those veterans hats or the coats or the men and women who have served this country to shake their hand and thank them for their service. And man, I saw this quote, or maybe it was a meme or something on Instagram or Facebook yesterday that really kind of encapsulates it. You know, which is if you really want to thank a soldier, live your life as an American worthy of the sacrifices that they made. And I think that's such a powerful statement that just encapsulates the whole day. You know, I mean, every day is Veterans Day, and we don't do enough, to be candid about it. There's so much red tape shit that they have to deal with at the VAs, and I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by veterans from all through my family. My dad, Vietnam vet, who's gone through his stuff with the VA, and then, been fortunate enough to be able to work with the Wounded Warrior Project and Ride to Recovery and Soldier Ride and the SOAR program up at Fort Campbell, where we would go up and Sounds of Acoustic Recovery, where you would go up and play guitars and talk about the process of songwriting and stuff like that. And really some powerful stuff. And these men and women are just the most amazing people. It reminds me, the last ride I went on, my buddy Dan Evans and I rode all around the damn world on bicycles. We all over the U.S. and Germany, and I was humbled enough to I sang the national anthem there in Germany on I believe it was the 10th anniversary of September 11th, surrounded by wounded Allied men and women from all the forces on the Allied side, U.S. and Polish and the Israel Defense Forces and the Brits and all these incredible people. And we rode through Germany, and it was absolutely amazing. And barely got through it. I was doing the Star Spangled Banner that morning before the ride, and I've always kind of made the joke that when you're performing the Star Spangled Banner, it's kind of a lose-lose as a singer. It's like, number one, it's a really challenging song to sing, right? And so if you start too high, like you hear these people, who start up at the say, and every time I hear a dude start that song like up here, say, I'm like, oh shit, that's too high. Oh, that's too high. Shit. But the double-edged sword of that song is it's so emotional. But if you sing it perfectly, if you go out and nail it, it's like, yeah, okay, that's really good. That's how that song is supposed to sound. Unless you're Whitney Houston, or like when she did that World Series or the Super Bowl or whatever the hell it was, and it's just like people are absolutely blown away by it. But if I sing the national anthem and I sing it exactly the way it should be sang, you get, yeah, okay, that's exactly how it's supposed to be. If you fuck it up, it's on ESPN. You go to YouTube and type in botched national anthems. It's brutal, So you got to have your shit together. And then when you're standing out there surrounded by men and women who have been wounded in action for this flag, for this country, people that aren't even from here, from Israel, from the UK, from from all of our allied friends and neighbors around the world who went and fought that fight with us and got blown up for it. Totally humbling. Totally. I was decimated. I was crying midway through it. It was one of the most emotional experiences of my life. Also, the biggest honor I've ever had to stand in front of those men and women who are so much braver than I could ever be, and start the day off in a foreign country, standing in Germany, singing our national anthem before we went on a bike ride with all these guys. Absolutely incredible. So veterans past and present, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It doesn't cover it, but I hope that all of our men and women who served, who are listening, got to see some of that. Thanks yesterday. Before Veterans Day, I spent the weekend. I flew out to Colorado. I took November off of the road. We've been working on the new album, which I'm super excited about. Oh my God, I can't wait to share it with you guys. So this week is CMA week, I think. So you've got everybody in town. Every artist on the planet is here, and it's madness downtown. So I'm not going to be venturing down to that, but we're working on the new record. We're playing it for a bunch of people this week, and going to be really, really excited to get these new songs into your headphones. But this last weekend, we've been going out west a ton, and I just last minute, I had the opportunity to get presented by the Romeo Entertainment Company, which is a legendary entertainment company. They book all the big fairs and festivals. They book all the Country Thunders and Country Jams, I think, and I think We Fest, and I think stuff like that. I mean, just these huge festivals. And they've been very, very good friends of mine forever, and it was a real honor to get to go showcase for the Colorado folks this last weekend. So I flew in and did a 20-minute show and flew right back and got back at it. So I'm pretty excited about that. And then I was actually going to have, as a guest on today, our coach at the Legion Jiu-Jitsu team, Coach Logan was going to be on. We were going to be discussing, some of the parallels between martial arts and life philosophy and and his journey and kind of a life philosophy of that path. But he's going to be training for, I think, the Worlds coming up, or the Nationals. I'm not sure. But so he's getting in some extra practice today. Couldn't get over. And so we're going to have him on the show here soon. We've got some super badass guests coming up. We've got an astrophysicist coming up on the show from Vanderbilt University. He's going to be coming up here in a couple of weeks. Some of my new friends that I've connected with over in some of these jiu-jitsu classes, man, some really interesting, amazing cats that I'm going to have drop in and share some of their world and life philosophies as well. So as we get going, I don't know when we all stop paying attention to like space shit, but I get all these updates on my phone, and NASA has been putting out some crazy news, and astrobiologists are talking about all this stuff happening in the atmosphere. This Voyager 2, which was launched in like 1974. It was only supposed to last 5 years. It's now reached like interstellar space and is still sending us, information from like 1 billion miles away or some shit like that. Here it is. NASA's Voyager 2 discovers new details about interstellar space. And this thing was supposed to last for 5 years. And so now what? It was about a year ago, Voyager 2 left our solar system. It's 18 billion kilometers from Earth. you're going to have to Google some kilometer shit because my Post Falls, Idaho math is not kicking in. But it says that the research reports confirmed that both the Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 appear to be in the transitional area just beyond the heliosphere. The heliosphere is a protective bubble that protects our solar system, created by solar wind formed from charged particles. The border of the solar system, the place where solar wind ends and interstellar space begins, is called the heliopause. The heliopause appears to be much thinner than they expected. A physicist from the California Institute of Technology and a project leader for Voyager, they said it's a very exciting time for them. Said in the statement that the Voyager 2 mission was providing details about how the sun interacts with the materials that fill most of the space between the stars in the Milky Way galaxy. This fucking blows my mind how this is not on the news. Voyager 2 was one of two explorers launched by NASA in the summer of 1977. The other was Voyager 1. Both spacecraft were designed to carry out flyby studies of Jupiter and Saturn and be done. Later, Voyager 2 completed the first ever close observations of Uranus and Neptune. Can't say that without laughing. The flyby trips involving the four planets became known as the Voyager Grand Tour. They then began a new mission to explore areas at the edge of the sun's influence. Built to last only 5 years, they've outlasted their operational lifetimes. Both 42 years in action. That's mind-boggling. Both are expected to run out of power and go silent within 5 years. So, I don't know why this isn't on the fucking news. This blows my mind. So teach your kids about this, man. Bring up some of this cool shit. NASA has I don't know how many of you guys have cut the cord or you're on Hulu or you're watching apps or whatever, but NASA has a channel on there where you can like watch live from the space station and all that cool stuff. And with technology, it's just too cool not to pay attention to. And if you believe that the Earth is flat, yeah, I got nothing for you. All right. So tons of cool guests coming up, tons of cool stuff. And I ran into, I was kind of going through some stuff yesterday online, and I ran into a new book that I have not read that I started kind of peeking through yesterday called Chop Wood, Carry Water. And I was kind of looking for, some of that morning motivation to get you going, stuff to get you happening, and life philosophies, that simplify. So many times I think when you look at ideas, that seem too simple to work, it's like when I first got exposed to Stoicism, I'm like, it's not that easy. It's not that easy to just say, oh, I don't give a shit. And then you start practicing it and you start using it and you realize it really is that easy. Once you flip the switch of like, it's out of my control. I'm going to influence what I can influence, and things that I can't control, I'm not going to worry about, because you got to let nature be what it is. If it's raining out, there's no sense in being pissed off about it, because you can throw, the biggest tantrum you want to. It's going to keep raining. So once you start really wrapping your brain around like not being able to control what other people think about you, not being able to control about people's reaction to your work, but making your work enough and putting your best into it and controlling that aspect of it. And then anything that somebody thinks about you or thinks about your work, or that's their opinion. You can't change that. That's another person's reality, And so as long as we know our character and as long as we know our approach, that's enough. And you have to allow yourself that's enough, And so there was this thing called chop wood and carry water, and it's really like when you are when you're engaged in mundane, boring shit. When you're chopping wood or carrying water, allowing yourself, inviting yourself into a moment of attentiveness. Lucky you get to chop wood. Do you have the strength to carry it? How amazing is that? Being able to have the power to stand up, pick the wood up, and carry it. Allow yourself to be attentive to the situation. Is clean water coming out of your faucet? We talk about this in my house all the time. It's like, oh man, you got a flat tire on the truck. Hey, There's people looking for clean water right now. Whatever mundane shit is oh man, I got a report due tomorrow, or I got to study for my college exam. This is bullshit. You know, it's like, how fortunate are you to be in that position to begin with? You know, so when you start looking, can you drink the water that's running out of your faucet? You know, do you have hot water in your house? You know, that was part of the Stoic, still some of the Stoic exercises I do with cold showers and ending your shower totally with nothing but cold water, just to remind yourself that we're not entitled to any of this. All of this is borrowed. All of this is privilege. There was a talk about, you know, this novice asking the master or the monk, or, you know, there's different versions of this, but the guy says, you know, what do you do to chase enlightenment? What do you do to lead up to being enlightened? And the answer was chop wood and carry water. It was followed by, well, after enlightenment, what is your purpose? And the answer is the same, to chop wood and carry water. Because you're doing it with the love in which it's performed. To perform a task like that with the attentiveness and with love and the acceptance of our job as a human, you know, your attention is what makes those things amazing. Washing the clothes, stirring your oatmeal, studying for a test, running the carpool. Attention is love, and love is transformative. Right? When there's attention to detail, wherever it is you want to go, whatever it is you want to achieve, whether it's enlightenment or running a marathon, you're still going to have to work to get there, and you're going to have to keep moving forward. And there might be a momentary, oh, you know, I have arrived. And that's when the work really begins. You know, in the music business, I always tell people, it's like you feel like as soon as you get a record deal, I've made it. I've got a bus. I've got this. I've got these things, man. I finally made it. And the truth is, that's just where the work starts. You know, you got into the opportunity to go out and prove it, right? And that's the cycle of life. Because what happens is, you know, you're working for that marathon and you put in a kick-ass workout. Well, the next day, you know, payment's due. You got to do it again. The next workout happens. The next carpool will be run. The next day of work you got to go to. The cycle of life, which is about giving our attention to tasks that we may find boring, right? It never ends. And it's a good thing it doesn't end, because it gives us the opportunity to be the best that we can in the present moment that we're standing in, right? And Marcus Aurelius had a great... Marcus Aurelius, for those of you who don't know, is kind of one of the godfathers of Stoic philosophy, and he ruled ancient Rome from 161 to I think 180 AD, and he wrote a book called Meditations, which is kind of the first step into Stoic philosophy. When you start looking at being indifferent to things that make no difference and really kind of wrapping your mind around it. He wrote a book of meditations for himself. This was never meant to be published. This was never meant to be, massively consumed. This was supposed to be notes to remind himself of who he is, of the philosophy he wanted to be and to practice, and to make sure he was exemplifying. You know, the meditations thing is just an incredible look into it. There's also, and everybody says, you know, oh, you should start with meditations. I think if this kind of a thing, there's so many books out there now. There's like there's one called I think it's called Unfuck Your Life, which has Stoic principles in it. Ryan Holiday is a guy I talk about on here a lot, with the ego is the enemy, the obstacle is the way. He's got a new one called Stillness is the Key. And I think Stillness is the Key kind of takes out some of the, if you're not like a meditative type, like, man, look, man, I don't want to meditate. I don't want, you know, I think Stillness is the Key puts a little more emphasis on just everyday kind of getting through, you know, type of a thing. So it might be something that interests you. There's research that suggests that the Marcus Aurelius' technique of like self-talk, which is where he used the second person pronoun you instead of I, right? Instead of saying, I need to do this, it's you. They're saying that it can be an effective motivational strategy, speculating that it cues memories of receiving support and encouragement from others, especially in your childhood. The next time that you're thinking to yourself, I got to get my ass moving, I got to try changing it to you. It's just little tiny tweaks. You need to do this. You can do this. Keep it up. You're doing a great job. Those things that we tell ourselves. But Marcus had a great morning routine. And it just goes to show the ruler of Rome had a tough time getting out of bed in the morning sometimes. And he wrote a passage in a reflection of this Stoic belief of having power over your own emotions, kind of coupled with the acceptance of things beyond your control. And so the translation is, at dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work. As a human being, what do I have to complain of? If I'm not going to do what I was born for, the things that I was brought in this world to do, or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm? But it's nicer in here. Were you born to feel nice instead of doing things and experiencing life? Don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants, the spiders, and the bees going on in their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can. And you're not willing to do your job as a human being. Why aren't you running to do what nature demands? And we have to sleep sometime, agreed. But nature set a limit on that, as it did on eating and drinking, and you're over the limit. You've had more than enough of sleep. You're not working. They're still below your quota. You don't love yourself enough, or you love your nature too, and what it demands of you. People who love what they do wear themselves out doing it. They even forget to wash or eat. Do you have less respect for your own nature than the engraver does for engraving, the dancer for the dance, the miser for money, or the social climber for status? When they're really possessed by what they do, they'd rather stop eating and sleeping than give up practicing their arts. Is what you're doing helping others less valuable to you? Is it not worth your effort? And that, I just think, is just such a powerful thing. Even the line, were you made to just lay in bed under the covers? Or were you made to get your ass up and go kick ass and be great? You have to love what's demanded of you, and in every life demands of us to go out and do our part. And that's why I always just preach to people. I'm like, if you're doing something you hate, find something you love. It's like the old, what was it? I can't remember who said the quote, find something you love and let it kill you. And now, that being said, it's all about taking care of your time. You need your time with your family. You need your time with your art and your passion or your profession. You need your time to work, and you need your time for that inward thought, that philosophical, emotional, religious, whatever it is for you. You need that time to connect, with your life, just to keep you sane. I'm not going to get too long in the tooth on this, but in the morning when you get up, man, kick ass. Another thing, I used to kind of think was corny, but writing shit down, hanging it on your mirror, reading it every morning, putting something up that inspires. Who inspires you? What inspires you? What are the things that you want to accomplish? And then every day, trying to live in that moment that this is your last day. And when you go to bed at night, realizing that the mistakes that you made through the day aren't who you are. They're not who you have to be. You're not today. You are not who you were yesterday. You can change it. As long as there is air in your lungs and blood pumping through your heart, you can change it. And you're not guaranteed that that's going to happen tomorrow morning. None of us are guaranteed the thought of opening your eyes and seeing what an amazing world it is out there. So why are we wasting our time? Wake up, kick ass, repeat. And when you go to bed at night, this is something that I love about Stoic philosophy. When you go to bed at night, look at your day. Think about, and I had one this weekend when I was in Colorado, right? I was going through TSA at the airport, and I instantly thought about this. I go through, everything. I was on time. Everything was good. I was kind of strolling through security, and I got it through there. And when you travel as much as you do, there's little frustrations, right? Planes are delayed. Security lines long, whatever it is, and it's all about just keeping that in a frame of reference. It's like, hey, well, I'm going to get pissed about this, or I'm going to stay in the line. So I get through the line, I get in there, and the TSA agent pulled my guitar out of the way. And I'm like, oh man, what the fuck? I'm just thinking, did I leave something in there? Because I'm very conscious of that before I travel, just because I don't want to hold up the line. I don't want to get held up either. And I don't want to make their job harder than it already is, So I just want to get in, get through, get on my flight, get home. So the guitar goes through. The guy pulls it out. Hey, man, is this your guitar? I'm like, yeah. And he says, I'm going to open the case and I want you to take the battery out. My frustration with TSA from time to time has been that sometimes it's a little inconsistent. So it's like 20 airports, this is okay in one place. And then you go to another place and like, well, this isn't okay. You know, some places look at your guitar tuner as an electronic, other places don't. And so I know it's probably varying degrees of like Nashville. They see so many guitars. They know exactly what they're looking at. Arkansas, you know, I don't know. Little Rock might see far less guitars, might be more of a problem. I don't know. But the guy asked if I could take the battery out, and it kind of requires a little bit of effort, you know, loosening strings, putting your hand in there, pulling it out. And so I just said, why? I said, man, I'm not trying to be rude, but this flies all the time that no one's ever asked me to take the battery out. And then I realized that I was kind of, you know, it was just an honest question. I wasn't trying to be rude. After the, you know, thing went through and he's like, okay, you're good to go. I thought back to that and I go, man, you know, I wish I would have approached that a little differently. Years ago, I would have beat myself up about it. Oh man, did I say the right thing? Was I a dick? Was I rude? Fuck, I don't want to be rude, you know? And instead, now of just going like, you know, I could have handled that a little better. I could have worded that better and making a mental note of that. And so that night when I went to sleep, when you look at your day and you go, you know, I got a good bit done. I feel pretty good about how I reacted to situations, and I feel pretty good about, you know, who I was as a human today. Where did I fail? You know, I was watching a video last night with my son. My son was playing a game that involves a lot of reading. And I was trying to really pay attention to this video that I was watching, and Knox was like, Dad, what's this say? You know, and so you read it a couple of times. Like, it's getting to the point that I've been waiting for like 9 minutes in this video for it to finally get to, and I'm trying to hear what the girl said, and Knox is kind of going like, Dad, what's this? And I find myself, you know, like all parents do, you know, you get a little irritated. You're like, dude, what? Okay, hold on. You know what I mean? And then I saw that he recognized my body language about it. I saw it click with him that he was annoying me in that moment. And it wasn't that he was annoying me. It was just that I cannot multitask to save my life. I can't read something and listen to what you're saying. I can't listen to something and read something else, or shit gets awry. I just can't do it. I know a lot of people. My wife can do 15 things at once and tell me where my wallet is. Right? But I just can't. And so I was frustrated in the moment. My son instantly noticed it. And I brought it up to my wife last night when I went to bed. I said, you know, I'm going to really focus on that. And that's the thing. You don't beat yourself up over it. When you lay down at night, here's what I could have done better. And if I am lucky enough to wake up tomorrow morning, damn it, I'm going to take a better swing at it. I found this chart here, which is 15 things as a Stoic or someone that's maybe interested in Stoic philosophy, which, and I don't mean to get preachy on it, it's just the one that I'm the most comfortable in speaking about. And it really, I think, is a minimal effort for a large payoff, which then turns into maximum effort, because as soon as you start going like, wow, this has really changed my life, you dive a little deeper in. So the first one, as we go through, you know, is practice the art of living as a warrior in the mind. And that's applying philosophy to everyday life. You're sitting in traffic, you're pissed. Why? There's nothing you can do about it. Now, could you have left earlier? Yes, but you can't go back and leave earlier. So you get through it. You don't let it ruin your day. Number 2 is express your ideal self and reflect upon your actions. Expressing your highest self in every moment and showing yourself what you're capable of. Being aware of your steps. Be mindful and try to choose your best actions deliberately. It's easier said than done. Knowing what irritates you and why. You know, knowing what disturbs you, not by what happens, but by your opinion of it. Understanding that it's your judgment of the situation that pisses you off. So somebody's pissing you off. Why? Because you're allowing them the power to do it. You're putting too much value on that. And it's now become your problem, right? When it's not your problem to begin with. So if there's something that's bothering you, it's not the thing that's bothering you. It's your judgment of it. It's your objectivity to it. You're allowing that to control you, you know? Always test your impression. Try your best not to react impulsively, and try to think before you react. Do some box breathing, which is like breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. I've had to do that. I got a I'm a little mouthy, as most of you know. Focus on what you can control. Concentrate your effort only on what you can control and accept the rest as it happens. That we can't control shit that's out of our realm of control. And as soon as you do that, you will find peace. I promise. If you can just get that one down, focus on what you can control and ignoring what you can't, being indifferent to things that make no difference. If you can just get that one down, I promise you, it will change your life. It really will. Take responsibility. Refuse to let outside circumstances decide your well-being. Take responsibility and get good from yourself. Take back your time. Prioritize and make time for what matters. Eliminate non-essential, wasteful shit in your life. If there's somebody every week who wants to take you out to lunch and bitch about their life, and for you look at it, say you've got a lunch every Wednesday with just a negativity, something you don't want to deal with. Oh God, I got to go out and my, cousin Shirley, or I don't think I have a cousin Shirley. If I do, I'm not talking about you. Cousin Shirley wants to take me out to lunch and bitch about her husband. Why? Now, unless you really care about helping them fix that situation, why are you subjecting your shit that doesn't matter to you? The minute you start being honest about things like that, where you're like, hey man, I can't do it, I'm sorry, it opens your life, it frees yourself. And then you've got to acceptance rather than fighting what happens. The sun, the moon, the rain, the weather, the complexity of the universe, you have to accept what happens as you understand that you do not have control over it. Endure and renounce. Hone your skill of self-discipline and say no to what others can't resist doing and say yes to what others dread doing. It's like that old Robert Frost poem, Take the hard shit. The hard stuff. The struggle is where the power is. The struggle is where you win. The struggle is where you find who you really are. Go out. Say no to the easy road. If you're trying to lose weight, say no to the fast food. Say no to the bullshit and yes to the hard path. Getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and going in and training. That shit is hard. It's hard for everybody. But once you get up and you go do it and you leave that gym, you feel good. You accomplished it. Man, I did it. I got it. All right. Fuck yeah. I'm ready to go. So endure and renounce. Hone the self-discipline. Say no to the easy shit and say yes to what others dread doing. And then buy tranquility whenever you can. Don't let problems affect your calm mind. That is way harder than anybody gives it credit for. Look, we're all going to have problems. Health problems, financial problems, relationship problems. Whatever problem you have, it's going to be there. And the main focus is going back, taking a breath, realizing I'm doing the best I can in this moment. And the best you can do isn't always going to be the same. Some days you're sick. Some days, you feel like shit. Some days you feel great. The amount of effort sometimes will vary on the best that you can do, but as long as you're doing it, that's all you can do. Don't complain. You hate Mondays. You hear people, oh, Mondays suck, or this sucks, or this. The only thing that sucks is the attitude, Don't whine and complain about adversity. Choose to find it as training. Practice it as virtuous behavior. When you go, you get a flat tire and you go, man, thank God I had enough money in my bank account to get a new tire. Or thank God that happened at this juncture. It wasn't over here. Or thank God that I had the ability to call a friend to get some help. Find the good in it. Find the lesson in it and practice that. Be kind. Understand that tolerance and forgiveness are huge strengths and love, even, when people stumble. Listen and say only what isn't better left unsaid. I need to practice that a shitload. And then eliminate the non-essential. If there's things that you don't need in your life, why are we worried about it? Why are we allowing this to control our lives? So that's my spiel for today. The biggest thing really is, and I didn't start this thing to be a freaking Matt Foley living in a van down by the river as a motivational speaker, but it's something that I definitely struggled with, and I try to make it something that's interesting and funny, and also something that can maybe pump you up and get you ready to go for a day of ass kicking. So Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm sorry I didn't have a guest this morning. We're going to get Coach Logan back in, including some other really badass people. We've got Billy Alcorn coming up from the legendary Alcorn case. We got Eddie Pleasant coming up. Anybody in Nashville knows Eddie. He's the guy who sold the very first T-shirt and the very first merch guy ever. He was out with Hank Williams forever. And has a bunch of amazing stories. Plus, got an astrophysicist coming over from Vanderbilt. We're going to be talking to all those people about the struggle and about kicking ass in tough industries. So go out, be your best version of yourself today. And remember that you were built and made to kick ass. Find your passion. Go after it. And if somebody asks you why you're sticking around when you think that you should have already left, just say you're too dumb to quit, baby. Yeah. JeremyMcComb.com. If you're enjoying the podcast, share it with 2 or 3 of your friends. It's greatly appreciated. And looking forward to getting back out on the road in December. I'm heading back to Texas, I think, the first week. Trying to get this new music out to you guys as soon as possible, along with our 3-time loser tour that we do at the end of December, right after Christmas. It kicks off with me and my hit songwriter buddy Rick Huckabee, along with Dan Olson from the band Sack of Lions up there in Omaha, Nebraska. So we're going to be at Bucks in Venice, Nebraska. All right, so December 27th, we'll be in Venice, Nebraska. The only bar in Venice, Nebraska is Bucks. On the 28th, we're going to be adding a show. I'm pretty excited about that. The 29th, we're going to be at the, I think it's the Backroom Lounge there in Riverton, Illinois. The 30th, we have a sold-out show, Clinton, Wisconsin. The 31st, New Year's Eve, of course, Glenwood, Minnesota. And really excited about that tour. And then we kick right off into the year. We're headed back to Arizona and California, Grand Junction, Colorado, Okoboji, Iowa. Going to be out doing some shows with Aaron Watson and some more tour stuff that I'm excited to announce coming up. So thank you for spending your time with me. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Go out and get it.